The galaxy was ablaze with war. The Ferax Alliance, a coalition of aggressive alien species, was at odds with the Zenith Confederacy, a powerful group of planets determined to control the galaxy's resources. Armadas clashed, planets burned, and countless lives were lost. Yet, in the midst of this chaos, one small blue planet stood silent. Earth.as battle reports spread. Leaders from both sides noticed humanity's unusual stance. While other planets picked sides, Earth had declared neutrality. Intrigued and frustrated, alien leaders demanded a response. Humans, one Ferax general growled during an intergalactic summit, "Why do you refuse to join the fight? Are you cowards?" The human ambassador, a calm woman named Dr. Elena Monroe, smiled politely. "It's not cowardice. Humanity has learned the cost of war. We don't go to war anymore." The room erupted in laughter. The Ferax and Zenith leaders decided to test humanity. "If you refuse to fight," a Zenith commander said, "prove your worth another way. Show us you're not just weaklings hiding behind lofty ideals." Dr. Monroe accepted the challenge. "We will solve your disputes without violence," she said. "Give us a chance to show you there's another way." The alien leaders, amused by the idea, agreed. They presented the humans with three seemingly impossible problems: a territorial conflict over a resource-rich asteroid belt, a deadly arms race spiraling out of control, and a deeply rooted cultural feud that had lasted centuries. The aliens expected humanity to fail. But humans approached the problems with creativity, logic, and empathy. For the asteroid belt, human engineers proposed an innovative mining system that allowed both sides to share resources equally. It was efficient, profitable, and left no room for disputes. In the arms race, human negotiators worked with scientists to introduce technological safeguards, rendering the weapons useless unless mutual peace treaties were signed. And for the cultural feud, humans hosted a grand interstellar summit, combining art, history, and shared traditions from both species. The event highlighted their similarities, melting centuries of hatred into cautious friendship. Though impressed, some alien factions grew resentful of humanity's success. The Ferax leaders, unwilling to let humans outshine them, decided to launch a surprise attack on Earth. As their fleet approached the planet, they were shocked to find themselves stopped mid-flight. Humanity's planetary defense systems, controlled by advanced artificial intelligence, had detected the attack before it began. Without firing a single weapon, the AI trapped the Ferax ships in a massive energy net, rendering them immobile. The Ferax general barked orders, but nothing worked. Then, a message came through from Earth. "We expected better from you," Dr. Monroe's voice said calmly. "Peace is not weakness. If you attack us, we will defend ourselves, but we won't destroy you. Leave now and rethink your actions." The Ferax fleet retreated, humiliated and shaken. Word of Earth's triumph spread across the galaxy. Humanity had solved the impossible challenges without bloodshed and even countered a sneak attack with elegance and restraint. Alien leaders convened once more, this time with respect in their voices. "You've shown us a better way," a Zenith ambassador admitted. "Perhaps we've been fighting out of fear, not strength." Dr. Monroe nodded. "War feels powerful, but it's a shortcut that destroys more than it creates. True strength is in solving problems, not creating them." From that day forward, humanity became a beacon of wisdom in the galaxy. They were no longer seen as a minor species, but as leaders of a new era of peace. Back on Earth, Dr. Monroe addressed the United Nations. "We've proven that peace is not just an ideal, it's a weapon stronger than any fleet or army. But our work isn't done. We must continue to inspire others, to show them that war is not the only path." The people of Earth cheered, proud of their role in transforming the galaxy. Humanity, once divided by its own wars, had become the masters of peace. And so, the galaxy learned a valuable lesson: strength doesn't lie in destruction, but in the courage to build a better future. The alien fleet emerged from the void of space, its massive ships casting ominous shadows over Earth. The Torvans, a ruthless species known for conquering weaker planets, saw humanity as an easy target. From their vantage point, humans appeared fragile, with no interstellar defenses or large-scale military presence. The Torvan commander, General Krill, grinned as he studied the blue-green planet. "Earth will fall within hours," he declared to his crew. "Their primitive species won't stand a chance." But something strange happened as the fleet approached Earth. There were no defensive formations, no retaliation, not even a sign of panic. It was as if humans were deliberately ignoring the threat. This puzzled Krill and his officers. Why aren't they fighting back? He wondered aloud. As the Torvan fleet maintained orbit, they began intercepting human communications, scanning for any sign of resistance. Instead, they found records of Earth's history, particularly its wars. They saw images of battles fought on land, sea, and air. They witnessed the devastation of nuclear bombs, the scars left by world wars, and the desperation of humanity's darkest hours. It wasn't just the destruction that caught their attention, it was the aftermath. The rebuilding, the treaties, and the global resolve to prevent such horrors from happening again. "Humans have seen war," Krill murmured, "and it seems they've chosen to leave it behind." This newfound understanding intrigued him, but it also made him wary. If humans had once been capable of such violence, what had they done with their weapons? Krill ordered a stealth scout to infiltrate Earth and uncover its secrets. The scout, a small Torvan drone, slipped past Earth's minimal defenses and located a hidden underground facility. What it discovered was beyond anything the Torvans had imagined. The facility housed weapons that defied logic, energy cannons capable of vaporizing entire fleets, nanotechnology that could dismantle ships atom by atom, and orbital systems that could manipulate gravity itself. The drone recorded everything and transmitted it back to the fleet. Krill's confidence turned to dread as he reviewed the data. "These weapons," he whispered, "could destroy the galaxy. Why aren't they using them?" The answer became clear when he saw a message engraved in the human facility. Despite the warning, Krill's pride wouldn't allow him to back down. "If they won't use their weapons, they must be bluffing," he argued. He ordered his fleet to prepare for an invasion. As the Torvan ships descended, Earth's response was immediate and unexpected. Satellites in orbit activated, emitting precise electromagnetic pulses that disabled the Torvan weapon systems. Their ships were left floating, powerless and exposed. The humans hadn't fired a single destructive shot. Instead, they demonstrated absolute control, neutralizing the fleet without harming a single Torvan. Krell's ship received a direct transmission from Earth. The face of a human leader appeared on screen, calm but firm. "We do not wish to harm you," the leader said. "But if you force our hand, we will defend ourselves. Leave now and take this as a lesson. Peace is not weakness." Humiliated and terrified, Krill ordered a retreat. The Torvan fleet limped back into space, their confidence shattered. Krill knew that Earth could have annihilated them in seconds, but chose not to. As they returned to their home planet, the Torvans spread the story of Earth's silent arsenal. Humanity became a legend, a species so powerful they didn't need to fight. Back on Earth, life continued as usual. The hidden weapons remained dormant, watched over by those who understood their potential for destruction. The human leader who had spoken to the Torvans addressed the world in a televised broadcast. "We have proven that strength is not in the weapons we wield, but in the restraint we show. Let this be a reminder of why we choose peace not out of fear, but because we know the true cost of war." The people of Earth celebrated their victory, not with parades or displays of power, but with quiet gratitude. They knew the galaxy would think twice before challenging them again. And so, humanity returned to its peaceful ways, guarding the silent arsenal that ensured they would never have to fight another war. The Krathians were a fierce and war-hungry species known throughout the galaxy for their brutal conquests. When their scouts discovered Earth, they believed it to be an easy target, a primitive planet with no defenses and no weapons. To them, the Krathian Emperor, a towering figure of scales and claws, issued a declaration of war. His voice echoed across the stars. "Earth will be crushed beneath our boot. Humanity's arrogance will be their downfall. Prepare for annihilation." The Krathians were sure they would destroy Earth in a matter of days. What they didn't expect was the silence that greeted their threat. Earth did not send an army, nor did it retaliate with weapons. There was no panic, no military buildup, just quiet preparation. General Zarnak of the Krathian fleet watched in disbelief as his ships neared Earth. Human transmissions had stopped, and there was no sign of military resistance. "How can they be so calm?" he growled. "They must be hiding something." The Krathians had prepared for a battle, but what they didn't realize was that Earth had prepared in a completely different way. Instead of sending soldiers or ships, the humans sent their most brilliant minds to work. Human scientists and engineers had anticipated this moment for years. A secret global initiative had developed advanced hacking systems technology that could disable anything with a signal. These systems had been kept hidden from the Krathians and anyone else who might come across Earth. As the Krathian ships entered Earth's orbit, they suddenly found themselves cut off from their communication networks. Messages from their fleets went unanswered, and their navigational systems failed. One by one, Krathian ships began to shut down. The Krathians scrambled, sending out desperate signals, trying to regain control of their fleet. But Earth's technology had infiltrated their systems, causing complete chaos. They couldn't contact one another, couldn't fire their weapons, and couldn't even move in the direction they intended. "Who are these humans?" General Zarnak growled, his claws trembling with frustration. "Why won't they fight us?" Unknown to the Krathians, humans had been watching their every move. Earth's defenses were invisible. There were no giant laser cannons or fleets of ships. Instead, there were hidden programs running silently, infiltrating the Krathian systems with the precision of a surgeon's scalpel. As the Krathian fleet sat helpless in orbit, humanity sent a simple message to the Emperor: "We don't go to war, but we don't lose either." Frustrated and confused, the Krathians attempted to re-establish contact with their homeworld, but their communications were jammed. All their military tactics were rendered useless by the human technology they couldn't even see. Their weapons were inoperable, their ships were stuck in place, and there was nothing they could do to fight back. "We cannot win this war," Zarnak realized. "We are completely powerless." Desperate, the Krathians attempted to launch a counteroffensive by sending a few remaining ships toward Earth. But before they could get close, they were disabled in the same silent way as the others. The Krathian fleet floated motionless. The human leaders sent a final message: "Leave our planet. We will not fight you, but we will never surrender." The Krathian fleet, utterly humiliated and unable to comprehend what had just happened, withdrew. They fled to the far reaches of space, their emperor cursing Earth with every passing light year. Back on Earth, life returned to normal. No battles had been fought, no lives lost. The humans hadn't raised a single weapon, yet they had outsmarted a species known for its ruthlessness. News of the strange victory spread quickly across the galaxy. The Krathians told tales of Earth's terrifying ability to win wars without a single shot being fired. To them, it was a victory they couldn't understand, a war that had never been fought. The humans, however, went back to their peaceful ways, knowing that they had sent a clear message: war was not their answer, but if necessary, they would never back down. The Krathians would never forget the quiet power of Earth. The Krenar were a warrior race, feared throughout the galaxy for their unmatched fighting abilities. For centuries, they had conquered planet after planet, challenging any species that dared to resist. When they discovered Earth, they saw a planet full of primitive creatures and assumed it would be an easy target. They sent a message to Earth's leaders, demanding a contest to prove which species was stronger. "We are the Krenar," the message read. "Your greatest warriors will face our finest fighters in battle. If you accept, we will grant you the honor of dying in combat. If you refuse, we will destroy your world." The Krenar expected a swift response. They were certain that Earth would send their strongest soldiers to face their champions. But what the Krenar didn't expect was the answer they received. "We do not fight in the way you understand," came the reply from Earth. "We choose to send our generals of the mind." The Krenar generals laughed at the message. "They send thinkers to battle us?" General Varak, the leader of the Krenar army, scoffed. "How can these weaklings challenge us with nothing but their minds?" Despite their amusement, the Krenar were intrigued. Earth had never shown signs of military power, yet the humans were offering a challenge that seemed strange. The Krenar accepted the terms, eager to defeat this mind-based approach and prove their superiority once and for all. As Earth's representatives arrived, it was clear that no soldiers were present. Instead, the humans sent a group of scientists, strategists, and psychologist people who had spent their lives studying the art of thought, diplomacy, and intellect. Among them was Dr. Marcus Hale, a renowned strategist known for his ability to predict his opponent's every move. The Krenar laughed, thinking the humans were simply trying to buy time. They assumed that Earth had no real strength and that this was a desperate attempt to avoid a fight. The challenge began, and the Krenar generals wasted no time in attempting to intimidate their human counterparts. But the humans didn't flinch. Instead, they began using tactics that the Krenar didn't understand: mind games, psychological manipulation, and advanced strategy. Dr. Hale spoke first, addressing General Varrock. "You think strength is found in muscle and weaponry," he said, "but the true power lies in understanding your opponent's weaknesses. You may be warriors, but we are generals of the mind." The Krenar general narrowed his eyes. "What nonsense is this?" The first game began. It wasn't a physical contest, but a battle of wits. The Krenar were forced to strategize under the guidance of the human team, who expertly manipulated every move. With each round, the humans showed them how they could turn the simplest of actions into a victory. They used their understanding of psychology to predict and influence the Krenar's decisions. The Krenar, with their reliance on brute force, struggled to adapt. They didn't understand the subtlety of human tactics or the psychology behind the moves they were making. Every time they thought they had an advantage, the humans outsmarted them, turning their strength into weakness. The humans' ability to turn enemies into allies was demonstrated when they used their understanding of Krenar psychology to convince one of the generals that a proposed attack was actually a trap. The Krenar, once again, fell for their own aggressive instincts. The human team's subtle manipulation led to a shift in the power dynamic, slowly breaking down the Krenar's warrior mentality. As the final test approached, General Varrock was furious. He ordered his fleet to prepare for an all-out attack, believing that the humans had played long enough. The Krenar would crush Earth's champions in a single strike. But the humans had anticipated this. Dr. Hale smiled and whispered a few words to his team. The humans had set a trap, not just for Varrock's fleet, but for the entire Krenar war machine. They had hacked into the Krenar's communication systems, using their own technology to manipulate their fleet's movements. When the Krenar launched their final attack, they found themselves in a deadly position. The humans had strategically placed false signals, creating the illusion of multiple threats across the battlefield. The Krenar fleet was divided, their ships scattered and confused. They tried to regroup, but their systems were disabled by human tactics that were too complex for their simple warrior minds to comprehend. In the end, the Krenar were surrounded by invisible forces. Their weapons were useless, and their ships were trapped in a brilliant net of human strategy. They had been outmaneuvered without a single shot being fired. Defeated and stunned, General Varrock stood in silence. He had underestimated the humans, thinking they were nothing but weak, peaceful beings. But he now realized that their true strength lay in their minds, their ability to outthink, outmaneuver, and outlast their enemies without ever raising a weapon. The Krenar fleet retreated, leaving Earth in peace. The humans had won not through strength, but through their mastery of strategy, psychology, and intellect. The Krenar generals, once fierce warriors, now saw the true power of Earth. From that day forward, the Krenar abandoned their warlike ways. Inspired by humanity's approach to conflict, they began to explore new ways of resolving disputes. The galaxy soon learned that the humans were not only the most peaceful species, but also the most brilliant. Humanity became known as the generals of the mind masters of strategy, diplomacy, and intellect. And the Krenar, once conquerors, now sought peace, knowing that the greatest victory was not in the battlefield, but in the mind.